Hello, this is BritSimon. Time is running out for DV 2019 cases, and I wanted to give an update to make sure that none of my readers are going to miss out on this wonderful opportunity. So let's just actually quickly talk through the timeline here. This is really the last chance for DV 2019 cases. The last interviews for DV 2019 will happen in September. All interviews have to conclude by September 30th, 2019 for DV 2019. And obviously, DV 2020 will start on October 1. No case can continue past that date. If you have an interview in September, for example, and it is not concluded, you're perhaps on AP or it can't be concluded by September 30th, you'll be out of luck. You can't process your case after that date. The 2NLs for September interviews will be sent in July. That's the normal process, the normal timeline. So the 2NLs that just went out between about the 16th of last month, or June, 16th of June and the end of June, were for August interviews. So the next 2NLs will come out roughly between July 15th and July 31st, between that timeline. And once that period is over, it's really quite difficult to get an interview arranged in September when we're in August. I have seen that happen before with with a few exceptions where cases were submitted very late. But really, you don't want to be going down to the wire. You don't want to be gambling your luck based on a late interview like that. You would be totally in the hands of KCC, and they will start to work on DV 2020, and so they won't have a lot of time to deal with 2019 cases anymore. Normally, as we know, 2NLs only go out to cases ready for scheduling before the end of the previous month, or perhaps in the first few days of the current month. In other words, once we get to Monday, which is July the 1st, June will have been over, and cases which are ready for scheduling, and I'll deal with that in a minute, ready for scheduling by the end of June, or perhaps July 1st, 2nd, 3rd, those few days, those will be the cases that will be scheduled for interview in September in the normal way, in that normal batch. After that time, you're really pushing it. It might happen. There might be some additional interviews, but you can't guarantee it at that point. KCC do not work on the weekend, so June is basically over. Monday is July 1st. So we are in the last few days where you'll be able to get your September interview, and that means if you run out of time, you'll have missed your wonderful opportunity. All August notifications have gone out, by the way. That no more August 2NLs will be sent. The last August 2NLs were sent as I expected yesterday, and so you should have had your notification for an August interview, and certainly no more July notifications go out either. Okay, so don't miss your chance. All cases are current, obviously, but you cannot be interviewed unless you have submitted your DS260 and your documents to KCC. So you must have done both these things. If you were sitting on your DS260, but you just submitted in the last few days, you might get a chance. There's a possibility. If you are asked by KCC to send your documents in the next few days, you might get a chance. If you have sent your documents in the last couple of weeks, you might be okay, right? But we're down to maybes and mights and possibilities. We're not talking guarantees anymore. So you have to pay attention if you've not already been scheduled. So if you submitted your documents and got an automated reply, that does not necessarily mean they are satisfied with your documents. The automated reply is exactly what it sounds like. It's a reply from the computer. The computer has received your email, sends out an automated reply saying, I got your documents. That doesn't mean any human read your documents. It doesn't mean you sent the correct documents or you had the right case number on the email. it doesn't mean they're satisfied with your documents. So unless you have checked with KCC and you have what I call the ready for scheduling email, you need to check with KCC by email, or better yet, by phone. Time is running out. Why wouldn't you just give them a call? If you have not already been scheduled and you're not 100% certain that they have processed your documents because you already checked in June, then you should take action now. You should contact KCC this week. Don't leave it any later than that. What's the ready for scheduling email? So if you contact, I'm not sure they sent out this email proactively, but if you contact KCC and ask them, are they satisfied with your documents that you've already sent? You can send them an email at any time, and they will hopefully respond within a couple of days, typically. But their email says the email in return should say something like, records indicate you have submitted a complete and valid DS260 application for each family member, and you have provided all required documentation, blah, 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 right? That's the email you want to see. If you've seen that email, then you don't need to worry. If you've already seen that email in June or perhaps in May, you don't need to worry. You should be scheduled in September, barring some sort of unfortunate circumstance, such as the embassy is completely full and has no places to schedule appointments. Barring that, and if you have seen this email, then you don't need to check with them anymore. You can relax. You can wait for the 2NL, which should come between the 15th of July and the end of July. Okay, so I'm going to cover the document instructions just for anybody that perhaps hasn't already sent their document. I hope people have done this, but just in case. You send documents only to the KCC DV documents address, which is shown there. And then for any document processing questions, like if you're asking have they received the documents, are they satisfied, you should be sending that email to kccdv@state.gov. Okay. For the documents themselves, the subject line of the documents email, which you're going to send to kccdvdocuments@state.gov, the subject line of that should be your case number only. And it must be your full case number, exactly as you were shown on your original you have been selected letter, your 1NL. So that would include the year, the region, and the leading zeros. So 2020 AF 000123445, right? It's got to be that whole thing, nothing else in the subject line, just that. The documents that they require for all applicants are the copy of your passport biodata page, and no translation is required for that. They're international format. Your birth certificate, any military records if someone has previously served in the military, police certificates for applicants aged 16 or over from all the required countries. And you should by now understand what the required countries are. Please read the instructions. If frankly you're sitting there and you haven't read the instructions, and you've been waiting a year and you haven't done this and you don't know what you're doing, then frankly, perhaps you were never serious about moving to America in the first place, because you've just wasted a whole year. So if you have been convicted of a crime, as your police certificate shows, then you would need a certified copy from each court record and any prison record to do with that crime. Okay. If any of those documents I just mentioned, apart from the passport biodata page, are not in English or the official language of the country in which the application for a visa is being made, then that must be accompanied by a certified translation. So if you're interviewing at the Paris embassy, your documents could be in English or they could be in French. They could not be in Japanese, right? So if they are in Japanese, you need to have them translated into French or English. Obviously, the most useful language would be English, because those documents could be useful for you again for other purposes once you're in America, where the predominant language is English. So think about your documents in that way. You've got to have documents translated. They should be what they call certified translations. That means that it's a document that must include a statement signed by the translator that states that the translation is accurate and that the translator themselves is competent to translate. That actually doesn't need to be an official translation company. More or less anyone other than your family members can translate a document if they are competent in that in those languages. But please, for the sake of a few dollars, getting a professional translation, don't make a mistake on these documents. These documents could, if you make a mistake now and you're being interviewed in September, then frankly, there is no time to correct mistakes. The KCC telephone number, if you need to give them a call, is 606-526-7500. That's a USA number, so the country code is 1. They're there from 7:30 in the morning until 4 p.m. EST. EST meaning Eastern Standard Time. That's the American East Coast time. So that's approximately 8 hours behind Greenwich Mean Time, for example, or London time, I should say. And perhaps 9 hours behind most of Europe and 10 hours behind some parts of Africa. So think of the timeline and think when you would need to give them a call. Don't call them at 5 to 4 in the afternoon. They'll be interested in getting off the phone. That's they've already worked a full day by that time. And if you contact them by phone, you'll hear a recorded message. You can bypass that message by pressing 0. If you're calling internationally, it costs a little bit of money, obviously, so you can save yourself a few cents by pressing 0 to bypass the message. The message is not necessary to listen to. Okay, so hopefully that's clear to everybody. I certainly hope so. Let me just close this down for a second. I just want to show you the calendar here, just to make sure you understand what we're talking about. So the last 2NLs for September interviews are going to be sent in that timeline. This is going to be for September interviews. They could be from the 3rd, or perhaps the second, I should say, depending on the working days in your country. But they can be from effectively the 1st to the 30th of September, and those 2NLs will be sent between the 15th and the 31st. The 31st in July is a working day, so that we could see 2NLs being sent as late as the 31st, or perhaps more likely the 29th or 30th. So I do expect the first 2NLs for September to come out in this week, probably on the Tuesday or Wednesday, the 16th or the 17th, and then we'll see a later batch on the 29th, 30th, 31st, that sort of time. Then it'll be over. Okay, that's the calendar. The other article you should be reading is this article that explains in more detail about the documents. It's got the email from KCC that is asking for your documents, and some more instructions here that I've given. So read through this. I'll put the link for this article at the bottom of the page. So please do take care of this. This is your last opportunity. Please don't miss out for the sake of just not understanding what you have to do. Okay, best of luck, everyone. I hope that's helpful. Bye-bye.